great to be at the OHDSI 2022 European Symposium. It's been an incredible conference, and work groups just coming out of some of the work group sessions have been amazing. Let me talk a little bit about OHDSI's vision for the future. I mean, broadly speaking, we're trying to come up with a new way of generating evidence, both in how we generate the evidence and how we disseminate it. And the key component to that is improving the reliability and reproducibility of evidence. And we achieve that by coming up with systematic methods to generate evidence. And a side effect of that is that we can generate large sums of evidence also. Not large sums of cheap evidence, of bad evidence, but large sums of reliable evidence. What does this mean? It's actually feasible. Right now, when we're studying drugs, say, each group studies one drug at a time, generates a study, it gets reviewed by some reviewers, and maybe gets published in a journal. And there are often a lot of flaws in those studies and a lot of biases. And now we believe we're reducing the bias, but at the same time, it's feasible to generate the evidence on every drug on the market for every side effect that we know of. That is an achievable solution, and to do it around the world so that we are representing all parts of the world, and furthermore, then supplying that evidence back to the world, doctors, citizens, patients, and so on. Our work groups are working together on the methods behind it, collecting the data network. We're already at 10% of the world's population fill our OHDSI databases. And then generating studies that are having effects. Our work in the AstraZeneca vaccine for the European Medicines Agency allowed them to turn the AstraZeneca vaccine back on in March of 2021 after those clotting episodes that showed that while it's true there's clotting, the benefit of the vaccine far outweighed the risks. That affected 700 million people. Some of our studies are being incorporated into clinical guidelines as those new guidelines come out. So we're starting to have a broad effect. But you could argue that those studies are still at a small scale, individual decisions I just talked about. And we believe that we can cover, say, safety surveillance for all medicines in one swoop. So how are we doing on that? Well, at the last European OHDSI Symposium, we did some metrics and we showed that we were doing quite well. We had 20 papers being published a year. We had 500 co-authors on the OHDSI papers. Now we look forward to this European Symposium. We've moved to 4 times that, 80 papers per year, many thousands of citations, and 1,500 co-authors on our OHDSI papers, because with these large-scale studies, we pull in a large audience of data providers, methodologists, and people who disseminate the information, different stakeholders. So we've moved forward, enormously. There's been huge, and if you look at the papers that have been published in that time, many of them come from our European colleagues, and we're very proud of that. And there have been so many advances and collaborations with government on the European side. Let me actually take this opportunity to thank Peter Rijnbeek for his leadership on the European side, and I turn it over to him to give fill in more details of what's been going on in the last 2 years and what are the plans going forward in carrying out this large-scale mission.
Well, thank you very much, George, for the compliment. And I must say, of course, we are building on top of the global OHDSI activities, and I'm very happy to see that so many data partners are actually onboarding into the data network. And that's, of course, through the EHDEN project, the European Health Data and Evidence Network project, that has made available funding for data sources in Europe to standardize to the OMO Common Data Model. And I'm very happy to see the success of that. So currently we are mapping more than 140 databases to the OMO Common Data Model, and even in a recent call, another large number of data sources applied to be part of the network. And being here at the OHDSI Europe Symposium just gives an enormous push to me personally, because I see how many people are enjoying being part of the community and how much they actually need to talk to each other. It was really amazing to see that, especially during the symposium day, where we had like a 3.5-hour block of time where people could walk around, look at all the posters, and there were 80 posters submitted to the symposium. And people were talking to each other, have breakout sessions, and actually felt that the 3.5 hours could have been longer. And I think that's a very good sign, also because, clearly because we were in the COVID-19 situation where we couldn't talk to each other face to face, there was a strong need to do that. But it's also because these people have the same ambition, they want to help public health by standardizing the data and work together. That collaborative is always very strong at the OHDSI symposiums, every OHDSI symposium that I've been, but it's very nice to see that in Europe this is growing very, very strongly now. There's really a snowball effect of people that want to contribute in different ways. That's with data, as I mentioned before, but there are also many people interested in helping to develop tools, use the tools, give feedback of those tools. And it was amazing to see also in these workshop sessions that we're having yesterday and today, how many people are actually using the tools like Atlas in Europe to answer questions. And that's also questions within their own organization or in collaborative studies. Another very nice development, I think, in Europe is the creation of more national nodes or activities within a nation. We see some very good examples in, for example, Italy, where many data sources are mapped to OMOP, and there are some organizations that take the lead and then create or improve the uptake within the country and try to stimulate collaboration within the nation. And that's something we really like, because that's also a way of creating sustainability of the OMOP Common Data model. The other nice growth that we've seen in Europe is the small to medium enterprises that we have been certifying. And that's a large number. It's more than 45 SMEs that are certified in many countries in Europe. And they can help with the growth. They are mapping the data sources, they give feedback on the quality of the ETL. And today we also had a meeting with the data partners and the certified SMEs to get some feedback on how they are experiencing the fact that they are now part of the community and where we can do better. It was very interesting to see that some of these SMEs are mapping more than 10 databases in Europe, and that actually demonstrates the power of the community and the snowball effect that we are creating. At the symposium, I also talked about the Darwin EU initiative that's setting up a coordination center that's led by Erasmus Medical Center with Oxford University as subcontractor, Synapse, the Hive, Odysseus, and IQVIA. And that is another mechanism, I think another push in Europe, that we are now going to run studies for the European Medicines Agency using the OMOP Common Data model. And we hope that that's an incentive also for many others out there that still want to join to get on board and make use also of the last EHDEN data partner call that's coming out somewhere October, November, to jump on the train and participate in all these nice initiatives. That's not only Darwin, but that's also outside of Darwin, where many collaborations can be set up between data sources, between different stakeholders, utilizing the EHDEN network and the global OHDSI network and the OHDSI Europe environment. So I'm really looking forward to that, and I've heard many very positive responses about the European OHDSI Symposium, and that gives me a lot of energy, and I hope many others as well. And I'm looking forward to the next symposium.